Hey, it's Jessica Lee, the Secret Psychic, and got some free time, and I've been wanting to do different kind of videos, not just oracle readings, but like little storytelling ones. There are all these stories, and honestly, since I was a kid, like I would tell ghost stories about actual like haunting experiences that I witnessed or my family went through. I guess what I'm trying to say is like most of my life I've been told various points I should be a storyteller. So why not? Let's tell some stories. So I was thinking since my whole theme of the channel is psychic related, I would kind of start on that theme. So first, what is a psychic? Well, when I studied medical terminology when I was like 19 or so, I found out the word psychic actually means of the mind. So here we are in oh so smart America, and everyone just thinks the word psychic means like mental powers of telling the future. Nope, just means the mind. The mind, quite simply, the mind. So how was that for attaching horrible, negative, or scary? Kind of what's that word? I can't say the word. Anyways, you know what I mean? Like all these thoughts around the word psychic. So much that when I started doing readings professionally, I didn't even want to call myself psychic. So I went by intuitive Jessica Lee. This is like this name I use here is my old school name. Like if you were on MySpace, Real Psychics and Mediums, you might remember me. Intuitive Jessica Lee. Anywho, so yeah, and I was raised Jehovah's Witness too. I was raised Jehovah's Witness. I mean, I never got baptized. My mom never even got baptized. My dad never was into it. My father was more on the Wiccan Gnostic side of things. Clearly, I take after him. But yeah, so I was raised in this religion where they told you to follow God in spirit, but to deny anything of spirit at the same time. Mainly, their reason is you don't know what it is, and that is a valid reason. But you have instincts, you have intuition to know if something is positive or negative. And in my opinion, encouraging people to simply ignore the fact that something exists doesn't make it go away. It actually makes me more susceptible to being attacked and manipulated by the spirit world. So I just don't subscribe to that. Okay, so moving on. Psychic. Um, well, some people ask me, how did you know? How did you figure it out that you were, psychic, different? For me, I always had little clues. One of my first memories, I was, I was still living in Texas as a child, so I couldn't have been over 3 years old, put it that way. And my mom was waiting for my dad to come home from work. It was late at night. She had a friend over, and she's shit talking my dad, bitching, and I kept looking out the window, for my dad. And at one point, I saw him walking up the driveway, coming towards the door. And I let my mom know, hey, dad's home, dad's home. And she went and opened the door, and he was nowhere to be seen. No, and I just didn't understand. Like by the time she opened the door, the timing, he should have been at the door. And there was just no sign of him. We even looked around outside, and we couldn't find him. And maybe 3 minutes later, he walked in the door though. And so that was to me, since we looked and all that, and he wasn't there, but then he showed up a couple minutes later. That was kind of my first clue, that I see it before it happened. I know there was other things that happened as a child, but the biggest thing that really clued me in that maybe I was one of those people. I had a Huffy bike my dad bought me for my birthday. I was about 8 years old, and I was not able to get on the bike so well by myself. It was a little taller than I could handle. So my parents were divorced. My mom had custody, and her and my older brother they would hold the bike and give me a boost on, so I could go ride my pretty little pink bike. And one night I had a dream that they helped me on the bike. And I went around the block, and in reality, like say I go around the block, well the last corner that I would turn before I get home, they had a circle driveway with gravel on the driveway, or I should say a half circle, because one end opened on Shana Road. I don't know if any of y'all are from Warren, Michigan, but there's a house, and they have At least last time I was there, it was a half circle drive, and one opening would be on Shaner Road, and the other half would be on Frazo Road, since it was on the corner. Well, in the dream, I skidded out on these rocks. I lost control of the bike, fell, hurt my knee, and I ended up getting on my bike on my own and going home. Well, I woke up. I didn't really remember the dream. I did not remember the dream, but the next morning it was a Saturday. I got up. My mom and my brother helped me on my bike, and I went around the block. That last house, right on Frazo and Shaner, skidded out on these rocks. I fell. I busted up my knee, and and mind you, I'm awake at this point. This is really happening, and I remember trying to walk my bike home. Limp, limp, and I've always had this like weird logical thought process. But even at 8, I logically was like, this is gonna take too long and it's gonna hurt too much to go home like this. So the only logical way out of it was to hop on the bike somehow, and maybe use one leg to pedal. And there was nobody around to help me get on my bike, so I ended up giving it a few good tries because the pain from walking was more excruciating than the fear of falling down again, I guess. But anyways, I got on the bike. I managed to do it. Yay! And I rode my little self home, and I told my mom about my boo boo and my accident and how I overcome my fear and got on the bike and rode home. And then it was at that point that I remembered, oh, I just dreamt this. I just had this dream. So I told my mom, my Jehovah Witness mom. I call her Jehovah Witness wannabe. But I told her about it. And this woman told me, you better hope not. You better hope you didn't dream that. And it came true. And I'm 8, and I'm looking at her like, why? And she told me, because that means the devil has you. And for her to tell me that, like, that scared me. That scared me a lot. And it also made me question God. Why would God let the devil get an 8-year-old little kid? Why would God let that happen? And this benevolent God, this loving, protective God, why would he let the little girl who, oh, I don't know. That was my first, like, oh no, my baby just woke up. So that was the first real time where I said to myself, am I psychic? And I've had other predictive dreams since then, but I guess I did a whole 7 minutes already. And my baby just woke up, so that was my first story time. Uh, I'm gonna cut it off now, but if you like the story, hit like. If you also have a story you would like to share about when you started to realize maybe you're a little more intuitive than the average bear, please drop a line. Let me know about your experience. And I guess that's about it. Or subscribe. Yeah, that part. Plug, right? Okay, well, I'm gonna go give some love to my baby right now. We just woke up, and I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great week ahead.